All right, hello North Stars, and welcome to the SAT standard training. You should have in front of you two items: the standard testing manual with the purple cover and the SAT staff study guide standard. These two things are meant to go together. The study guide is some of the highlighted things that we thought would help you along the way. It is not at all meant to supplement this training or the manual, so you need to make sure you review and pay attention to both of these. During this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the standard testing manual. We're going to highlight some different sections, not talk about everything. You will see, for example, that some has been highlighted, but not all. It doesn't mean to get rid of the rest of it. It just means these are some of the more important sections that I really would like you to pay attention to. So starting at the very beginning here, we've got using this manual before test day, you do need to participate in training. You're doing that right now. Congratulations. During the test, you're going to administer the test. You're going to read the scripts aloud as they appear in this manual. And then after the test, you're going to account for all the materials and return them back to me. All right. As we proceed through here, it talks about before test day. You need to prepare yourself. Training, read the manual, study the scripts, and then review and sign the testing staff agreement. You've been emailed that link. It's also available on the staff website. As we go through here, we're going to skip this section here. This is the pre-administration. We are not doing a pre-administration for this test. We will answer all the questions on test day. So starting off with preparing your room, there is information that you do need to post. This is also listed on the study guide, with the date, school name and address, the school AI code 143796 listed there, 3-digit testing room code listed on your roster, SAT with essay, and then the statement here, use a number 2 pencil. Only do not use a pen or mechanical pencil. Again, I think it's the third time already I've said this. Please make sure you review the script before you start the test and you know what you're going to be doing. All right, proceeding on, we're going to look at accounting for test materials. You will have a room roster. You'll have a testing room materials report form. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. You'll have multiple choice test books, essay books, and answer sheets. You are going to count your materials multiple times when you receive them from me in the LRC, when you distribute them to students, and then when testing is complete, at a minimum those 3 times. Remember, for those of you that have done this in the past, when you admit students to the testing room, you are going to assign them seats either at random or by your prearrangement. They do not choose their own seats. You will have 2 rosters. On both rosters, mark a P for present and an A for absent. One of those rosters will be picked up after testing is started for attendance, and the second one will stay with your testing materials. That's the one that will get submitted to College Board, so they both need to be completed. Monitoring and timing the test. Always going to accurately time each section. Record start and stop times in the manual and on the board for the students to see. Announce them at regular intervals as noted in the script. You're going to monitor the breaks. During the breaks, you make sure students are not taking the test still. Make sure they put their answer sheet inside their book. Make sure they don't access phones or other prohibited devices. We'll talk in a little bit about phone collection and how we're going to manage that. All right, during those breaks, students may eat and drink, but only in designated areas. In this case, that's going to be the front or the side of the room away from the tests, because we are going to take breaks in the room. We're not going to leave the room for any reason other than a restroom. Students can go to the restroom, but they shouldn't be going in large packs, just 1 or 2 at a time during breaks, or only 1 at a time during the test. Here's the testing room materials report form I talked about before. When you pick up your tests, you're going to be provided that form. It's going to list all the materials that you have. All the books have serial numbers on them, and it'll list the serial numbers. You need to check, make sure those serial numbers are right. The right number of books has been given to you, and it matches the number of students in your room. This will be a separate form. You'll complete it and sign it at the end, letting us know which were used, which were unused, and then, like the other forms, this does get submitted to College Board. You're going to maintain and be in charge of security in the room. Remain vigilant. Only make sure one staff member is always in the room. Materials are never left unattended. You're going to report any irregularities. If you see anything that you think is wrong or out of place, make sure you notify me or Sarah right away, and we will assist you with that. Prohibited devices. All right, here we go. Students are advised to leave their devices in their lockers or at home on test day. We know better. Students are not necessarily going to do that. So they're going to come into the room with these. At the door, you're going to talk to them. Make sure they don't have anything on. Smartwatches by chance, or cell phones or anything like that. Those need to be powered off and put away. We'll provide you with a box to put them in, or if they brought their backpacks, they can put them in those. And then that all needs to be put to the front or the side of the room so that they are not accessible until the test is completely over. All right, so again, before testing begins, there's another chance that they're given in the instructions to make sure that these are turned off. Once that warning script is read, if a device is seen in their possession, you need to notify me right away, and I will work with collecting that device and inspecting it. Please do not inspect it yourself. There's no reason for you to do that. I don't want to put you in that situation. Notify me right away so that I can come up and handle that. Now, please note, if a student's phone makes a noise while it's in your possession at the front of the room or the side of the room or in a backpack, that's not going to be considered grounds for dismissal. But again, notify me, warn the student, we'll take care of that, and we'll address this. But the first thing you need to do is make sure that that's not making any more noise and disturbing anyone else in the classroom. All right, so here's our collection procedures. As I alluded to already, we're going to use option 2 here. We're going to keep the devices in this bags, or collect the bags, put those up at the front. If they didn't bring a bag like they were instructed to do, then we'll have a box to put them in up at the front so that you can keep them away from the students during the test. All right, they need to take out pencils, calculator, drinks, snacks, anything they brought with them right away, and put those underneath their seat because they're not going to be able to access their bags after testing has begun. And that's just what it says here. You're going to keep them away until tests are back in your possession, collected, and everything is done. Only then can you return those devices. We talked about breaks a little bit already, but there are scheduled breaks. You can see there's 3 different scheduled breaks during the exam. Students can use the restroom or go to have a snack inside the room during those breaks. But again, we're not going to let students out in mass during those breaks. The other rooms next to you are still going to be testing, so we need to make sure we keep it quiet to not disturb them. Unscheduled breaks would be if a student needs to take a break during the test. Please make sure to note that the clock does not stop. It keeps going. You should only have 1 student out at a time while the test is happening. Irregularity charts in the back of the book gives you a lot of information on different irregularities. Please review that as well. And again, if you've got any questions on anything, please see me or Sarah, and we will assist you. All right, now we're moving into the script itself and the test day. So this is where you're going to begin on test day, right here on page 16. You're going to pick up your materials in the LRC. We're doing a little bit different this year. This is the script. As we said before, you're going to read out loud what's in the shaded boxes, and this is the part where you're going to begin. As I said already, this is option B is what we're choosing in terms of collection of materials. At this point here, you're going to take a moment to walk around, make sure students are using acceptable calculators and that they don't have any unauthorized devices. Highlighted a few of them that we've seen that have been problems lately, such as smartwatches, wireless earbuds, highlighters. Make sure that the students don't have any of these things on them. And please be sure to check their calculators. There's a list of calculators in the back of the book that are acceptable. The most calculators are acceptable. The big thing to watch for is the QWERTY keyboard. If they're keypads, if they have anything that looks like that, that is not going to be an acceptable calculator. You're then going to distribute answer sheets. Please make sure that the student receives their own answer sheet that's got their label on it. Things are made and highlighted and written as rules because they've been broken in the past. So it's important that you get the right test to the right student. All right. cross this off because we are, as I said, are not doing a pre-administration session, so we're still going to do all of these pieces. Students do need to answer fields 1 through 9. Even though they have a pre-ID label, they still need to answer these fields. This is a College Board expectation. Make sure that their information is correct and the scores get reported accurately. All right. Field 5 asks about their state ID number. It's right on the label. The instructions should be able to find that. After you get through fields 1 through 9, you're going to distribute the test books. You're going to give each student the appropriate test materials in serial number order. This is very important that you do that because you're also going to record the serial numbers on the back of the book in the seating chart. So like it shows here, you're going to put the serial numbers, you're going to put arrows showing which way you passed it out. You're going to complete this section as well because this is all going to get turned back in. When they get their books, it does ask them to please insert information on the back, including their name and school code. So make sure they do that. Make sure they fill in these fields on their test book. Again, something I had to highlight doubly here because this is frequently forgotten when we get materials turned back in. Continue to read instructions. A couple other instructions I have highlighted at the start here is fields A, B, and C, form code, test ID, and test book serial number. It's important that the students put these on and put them on correctly so that their test is scored correctly. Field D is the testing room code. We are using testing room codes. That's listed on your roster, so make sure that the students do that as well. At this point, then, we're moving into the time sections. We're going to start with section 1, the reading test. It is 65 minutes long. Please note, this is the point that no students can enter the room. If any students arrive late up until this point, they can enter, but now they can't. If students did arrive late prior to this and they missed some of the bubbling, note that you could catch up on that after the testing has begun. You're going to record the start-stop time here. While the students are taking this first test, it's important that you post the start and stop times on the board, walk around, make sure they're checking that they're working in the right section, and complete the seating chart on the back as I showed you before. After the test, the first section, there is a 10-minute break. We talked about how to manage those already. Before starting section 2, the students are going to complete the certification statement. It is important that you walk around the room and make sure that they are all doing that certification statement. That does need to be completed. Section 2 is the writing and language test, 35 minutes long. You'll record start and stop times here. There is not a break before the math test. We'll roll right into section 3, math test, no calculator, 25 minutes long. Start and stop recorded here. 5-minute break after that before proceeding to math test with the calculator. That is 55 minutes long. Start and stop recorded here. And then that's going to be the end of the multiple choice section. At this point, you're going to collect the test books from each student, again, in the same order they were distributed. Count the books to make sure everything matches. Note here, it says don't distribute the essay books until after everything else is collected, and you've begun the script for the essay, which will be after this short 2-minute break. Then you get the essay, it's 50 minutes. Again, there's information that they need to report on the essay book itself. Make sure that this happens. Make sure they've filled in the essay code. If students ask for scratch paper, tell them no. They can write on their essays on the answer sheet. They do not get scratch paper. Record the start and stop time for the essay here as well as on the board. This is also a good time to make sure that the serialized test books that you've got, you've recorded, everything's back in order, and complete the testing materials report form. Note that the essay books are not in serial number order. They don't have serial numbers on those. When you return the multiple choice books, it would very much help us if you put them in serial number order. All right, at the end of the essay then, you're going to collect essay books from each student. You're going to count them to make sure you've counted for everything that was distributed, and then you'll proceed to the after the test section. There's a few more bubbles that we have to do. You're going to read the highlighted sections, the shaded sections there. You're going to distribute a copy of the student answer sheet instructions. They're going to complete fields 10 through 14, which is their address. It should be pretty simple for them. If students struggle with this, don't stress about it. Field 15 is their opportunity to choose 4 schools that they want to, or scholarship programs that they want to send their scores to. This is free, and so it's up to them if they want to do it. If they don't want to do it, that's okay. These are the only bubbles we're going to fill in at the end are fields 10 through 15. You can see I've crossed off here. Fields 16 through 39 are not going to be completed. Those fields require parental consent, and we do not have that. So it's important they do not complete fields 16 through 39. So after they do their 4 free score sends, then you're going to collect the answer sheets. You're going to check, make sure they've completed fields 1 through 9 on the front. You're going to flip it over and make sure that the form code and fields A through C have been completed. Please note, before dismissing students, you want to make sure that the answer sheets are not inserted in the test books. Make sure that all the students stay until you verify your counts and everything. There's your final scripts. You are going to keep students in the room until 12:45. Buses run at 1, and when everything is done, you're going to return your materials back to the LRC. After the students leave the room, you got a couple more things to do. Verify, make sure your testing room materials report form is done, seating chart is done, room roster is cleaned up, all your materials are collected, and then that is the end. As I said before, you're going to complete the seating chart. Now that you've done with the training, please make sure you familiarize yourself even more with the book, and be sure to complete this staff testing agreement. Thank you.